Hi, welcome to another version of TheFlowergod.com. I'm the Flower God, and we're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to do more like in the wedding season now. So what I was going to do is use some avalanche roses. These are from Ecuador. The flowers are beautiful. They're nice and open. We're going to use French tulips, plumosa, wax flower, and I'm going to show you a little trick with some ribbon and some pins. What we're going to do is the roses, these are called guard petals. You want to take the guard petals off. They're wrinkled and kind of discolored. You take these back and it gives you a fresh look with a nice fresh rose. I'm going to show you a trick with some of your petals afterwards. And I'm just going to peel some back here, have them all ready. This way you get a nice beautiful rose. The bride bouquet is one of the most important bouquets in the whole wedding, so you want to make sure everything is perfect for it. And just a couple more. I've already pre-done most of them, so I just have a few left to do here. Okay, what I'm doing is I'm having 12 roses, 12 tulips, and we're going to start off with, go through and find a perfect rose where the center is the most perfect rose. We're going to take a little bit of plumosa. We're going to put a couple pieces around the first rose. And what that does, it just kind of gives you that fluff around the main rose. Then we're going to add to each rose as we go. We're going to go just opposite each other. We're going to give this more of a round look. And the roses could be fairly tight, close together. Since we did the one rose in the center, we're going to do 4 all the way around. Now what we're going to do is add a little bit of wax flower. This is just going to lighten it up a little bit so it's not so heavy. And you can break pieces of your wax flower off so you don't have a large clump of flowers, so it just gives it that light, airy feel. And keep turning your bouquet so you can tell where you need to add any flowers to it, or any foliage, or any of your filler. And you just kind of want to make it symmetrical. Now we're going to add some tulips. And we're going to go in between each of the flowers with the tulips. And again, we're using 12 tulips and 12 roses. It kind of gives you a balanced bouquet. And we're just going to go in between each one. Let them stick out just enough so you can really tell what type of flower it is. We'll add a couple more in here. And let some of your foliage hang out a little bit so it gives it that fluffy fullness look. And really the best way to do this too is if you have a mirror that you could stand in front of, if you don't have someone to help you. That way you kind of keep an eye. You could hold a bouquet like this, and you could see what, if you were the other person, what you would be looking at. And we're going to add a little bit more foliage in here, a little plumosa. The plumosa is just one of those delicate foliages that really adds to a bouquet. You could also use different types of foliages. If you want a little bit bolder look, you could use a leaf that is a little bit heavier. But we're going to go with the lighter look, because the flowers, we want them to stand out more. Now we're going to go in between with more of the roses. And you can adjust the roses and your foliages and the tulips to wherever you need. Now you're starting to get a little bit fuller look, so what you want to do is kind of adjust and place your roses in between to give you that symmetrical look. And keep pulling your foliage off the bottom here. That way it doesn't make a big bulky stem. And we're just going to add a few more of the roses here, make it symmetrical. And again, just keep adjusting till it's exactly where you want it. We'll add the rest of the tulips. And what you're doing is just placing each flower back and forth to kind of make it round. Tulips and roses work very well together. The shape of the flower is almost identical. They both open up, with the petals opening up like a large flower, larger flower. And we're going to add a little bit more plumosa in between. And then we're going to add a little bit more wax flower. And what we're doing, we're just giving this an outer edge now. And you notice I'm leaving the stems longer. We're going to cut this back, and then we're going to do a little trick with the stems. And by the way, this is made after your bouquet is finished. You can do this like a day before, and you can have a pitcher of water, a glass of water, and stand each of your bouquets up in it. Just enough water in the base to keep the ribbon from getting wet, and this will keep it fresh all night. And what will happen then, each rose, each tulip will open up a little bit more. And make your bouquet really full and fluffy. Okay. Now that I've got the basics, again, if you had a mirror in front of you, you could tell where you needed to add maybe some filler or some foliage or maybe another flower. And I'm going to add just a little bit more foliage just to kind of finish off the edge here. You don't need a lot, just enough to finish off where your stems are going to be showing. And you can keep turning your bouquet as you go. Okay, I think that's got a pretty good shape and a pretty good look. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to cut the stems off. I'm going to cut the stems off approximately 10 inches, 10 to 12 inches maybe. And I'll make sure all my foliage down in here is kind of stripped off so it's not so bulky. And you could use just about any ribbon on this, but I suggest to give you that little bit better flow is double-sided silk ribbon or satin ribbon. It just makes it a little more flexible. Now what we're going to do, we're going to start up about 2 inches to 3 inches above the bottom, because the bottom is going to be sitting in the water. Hold it there. Now I've got pearl-headed pins. You can get these from your craft store or floral shop. And all this is going to hold your ribbon. Put a pin in just to hold it. Now what we're going to do is pull tight and overlay about half the ribbon as you go around. That'll keep your ribbon flat. Now you kind of grab that a little bit lower. And as you go, keep your ribbon pulled tight. That way it'll keep any wrinkles out. And just overlay about half of your ribbon as you go. Keep turning. Keep turning. plumosa kind of sticking out here. Take and cut that off. And just keep wrapping until you get up, approximately 2 to 3 inches from where your flowers start. Okay, now what I'm going to do, I'm going to cut my ribbon. Finish off a little edge right there. Now I'm going to take the pearl-headed pin. Again, I'm going to stick in, and what it does, it sticks into the stems. It's not going to come out all the way. You want to go downward. And that gives you, both ends are tucked in real tight. Now you want to find the best position for your bouquet to be facing down, such as this. Now what you're going to do is take the pearl-headed pins and go straight up. And you're going to line these up. Just make a straight line all the way down. This adds just a little bit of pearl to your bouquet, since you're using kind of an off-white rose and an off-white tulip. And it adds a little accent to it. And that'll be on the front of your bouquet. Now you see the stems are left long. Now this can be placed into a glass or a cup. Just have your water level just below where the ribbon's going to set. That way you're not going to get any wicking up on your ribbon. There's your bouquet that you could have set and made the day before your wedding. All the roses are just going to get more open as it takes up the water. Room temperature will open them up a little bit. But there's your bridal bouquet. You could always cut this off a little bit shorter if you want, just before your wedding. And that's the colonial bouquet.